So if you haven't heard already, somebody's trying to steal the trademark for ExpressLRS. That's not the actual start of the developers. In looking at it, I wanted to peel back the onion on who this is and just put it out there. Maybe I'll find out soon enough why we're trying to cloak and dagger all that about. And then it just made me go down a little bit of memory lane because I was up there in front with, not with the devs putting it together. I wasn't involved in that, but just getting the news out about ExpressLRS, trying it out, testing it, doing a bunch of tests for latency of ExpressLRS versus other. This is back in the day when you had to build it yourself with pin.io or whatever the heck it was. So anyways, take a little bit of trip down memory lane. First, let's kind of pull back the curtain on who this is. It's on the internet anyway, so why don't we just talk about it? So the individual is this Christopher Henry Sauer. So Christopher, if you're seeing this, if you could just stop it, that would be great. I don't think it's that that difficult. And if you have some rub with the ExpressLRS people, like, then grow up and do it a different way. Like, screwing up open source for the whole community of which you're theoretically a part of and you fly FPV is kind of like, come on. Now, I'm a little fuzzy on this a little bit. It's also known as Christina Sauer or Chris. And then it's Radio Mistress, and in different forms here. So I'm not sure if Christina or Chris, gender neutral, whatever. I don't really care. But so, yeah. And this is the filing that you can see here in, I guess, China. Yeah, it looks like China for the trademark, stealing of the trademark. And here's another screenshot of that same thing in here. So again, this is all readily available information on the ExpressLRS website. Go down, check it down below. I'm going to also drop a link down below where you can go and contribute to the ExpressLRS fighting back on this. Any donation, $2, $5, $1, whatever you can bear to give if you use ExpressLRS, it's going to be necessary depending on if you want it to keep being around. Because if the branding, this was something that Betaflight had to struggle against. I think back in the day, I was a little bit more fuzzy on that going on, but there was like Betaflight bags being sold and things of that nature. So there's this same kind of thing. This is not the first time somebody tried to do this, but it can really disrupt the industry because, ExpressLRS relies on other manufacturers doing the hardware. It can cause a lot of confusion. And if you can't use the ExpressLRS brand name anymore, it'd have to get switched. Theoretically, I guess that would be the best way to go about it, but that's a lot of work all to do, and it's just from this one individual. So, like the ExpressLRS team, what's in this post? Batting 1,000 hindsight. Should have trademarked it way back in the day, but these guys are typically focused on making the hobby better, and part of their enjoyment is creating this from the grounds up, and that's what they're focused on. We don't need bad actors like Chris. Causing disruption just for a grudge or whatever, for profit, whatever it is. Just like, dude, come on, man. Just find another, just grow up. Now, for a little bit of trip down memory lane, I don't know if you know, but if you go into Discord, any Discord, and up here, if you type in the before and then a whatever date, so you can just type, before colon and blah, 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 and then hit search, put in some date, that will give you something like this, where you can then hit jump, and then it will take you to posts before that certain date. And then if you go all the way back on the Discord for ExpressLRS, and let's make myself smaller here, and if you go all the way back, you got Jay and Alessandro basically coordinating to get ExpressLRS up off the ground. And that aligns, and it's kind of cool. If you're using ExpressLRS a lot, it might just be cool to check out what, where it's really come from and where it's gotten to. Because back in this time, literally trying to figure out the wiring and using FR Sky, R9 radio transmitters and receivers and reflashing them without the bootloader, it was, it was a lot harder, and they're making equipment from hand, making boards and things of that nature. And you can see we're starting to, right here in December 2019, if they only knew what was coming, right, with 2020 and so on and so forth. So I actually got involved. If I go to this, we still have the Discord here as well. So they reached out to me And this is before ExpressLRS was really mainstreamed. So if I go back way up to the top, way up to the top, it was around, well, October 2020. So it was almost a little into a year after they kind of got it kicked off the ground and reached out about doing some content and looking at the performance of ExpressLRS versus the performance of other radio links. Again, this is, Wes was a part of that crew as well. Wes was doing a lot of testing with it. And you can see some of the information here. Now, like, this is just a little Discord, I guess, channel or Discord server, just us 3 or 4 of us just coordinating on this. So yeah, that was in the 2020, in the thicket of the 2020 stuff, going through all this. That eventually culminated in some video content on how to convert and do a couple updates to your R9, which is still relevant today. I just did a tuning on a quad that had a 900 megahertz ExpressLRS receiver on it, and I flashed my old FR Sky R9M with the latest ExpressLRS code for 900 megahertz, and works great. So it was a dual receiver antenna. If you still have this R9 stuff, now this does have the mod to it. There's I think a resistor I soldered into this to get the 200 hertz, or I don't think you need it for the 200 hertz, but it's sometimes, if I recall correctly, it's like belt and suspenders a little bit for that little resistor to get the higher frame rate speed, and it's just only 200 hertz. But nevertheless, yeah, it still works great. So if you still have this stuff and all that content on flashing, FR Sky stuff over to ExpressLRS, still works even with the latest versions of ExpressLRS. Awesome. And even further from that, if you go to my website, theuavtech.com, which you can see up here at the top, if I go to performance links here, and you can check out over here, I've actually did a bunch of content, thanks in cooperation with Joshua Bardwell. He actually financed some of the equipment that I needed to get to do this as something he wanted to see get done in the community, but he didn't want to put forth the time himself. He's a busy guy to do it. So he said, look, if I get this stuff, will you do all this testing? And I said, sure, yeah, that'd be great. I, got a radio out of it as a, kind of a thing. But anyways, if you're ever interested in checking out the performance of ExpressLRS versus other radio links. Now, this has not been refreshed, but this was a benchmark at that point. I'm sure it's the same and or better. But it kind of looks at packet rates, end-to-end latency at different, the different pass through, and what you're getting, basically how many packets are coming through at 2 to 6 milliseconds, 3 to 15 milliseconds, 10 to 40 milliseconds, so on and so forth. And then jitter, this is this jitter on the side, and you can download this PDF, so you can hit download here, and then zoom in to take a closer look at it. But essentially it looks at, all the different ExpressLRS versus FR Sky, ExpressLRS versus TBS, versus Ghost, versus the 900 megahertz from ExpressLRS, the 2.4 gigahertz, all that good stuff. So that is all there, published on the website to check out. And then, just different receivers and stuff. These links probably don't work anymore, but if you're interested in going down and finding which receivers were kind of tested during this, and then the videos, then specifically. So if you're like, I don't know what you mean with going through all that, well, then just check out these videos. Go through in detail of what's in this chart and what basically reviewing the chart itself. Okay, well, that's it. A little bit of memory lane on ExpressLRS. And again, Christopher, Chris, whomever, if you could just kind of, don't be a jerk, that would be great. I know myself and probably a lot of the community would appreciate it. Again, hopefully people enjoyed that memory lane a little bit. If you did, and you want to see ExpressLRS thrive, and you want to help these guys out, which, they do not need to be devoting their time to this, but now they have to because of this. Again, check out the link below to make $1, $2, $5, 10, whatever you feel is appropriate to their effort to fight this off, and then we can all get back to enjoying the hobby peacefully like it should be. Thanks, everybody. Drop any comments down below. See you in the next one.